Origi! Yeah! Yeah! Unbelievable!
Hello and welcome to the Liverpool Way podcast. Liverpool have for the time being returned to the top of the Premier League following a 2-0 win at Burnley. Darwin got us off to the best start by finally ending his recent scoring drought, but the points weren't sealed until the last minute when substitute Diogo Jota packed a late Boxing Day punch to show us exactly what we've been missing these last few weeks. The margin of victory should have been bigger, but some inspired goalkeeping coupled with some wastefulness in the final third and some pitiful refereeing kept the score respectable. I'm Chris Smith, and to talk through this one, I've got Ian Brown and the editor at liverpoolway.co.uk, Dave Usher. Dave, your boy might have got us off the mark tonight, but boy, it's good to have Jota the Slaughter back.
Yeah, it is. Like, I should have been running to this podcast like the Ultimate Warrior, sprinting down to the ring tonight. Darwin scoring, we go back to the top of the table, you know, big 3 points after 2 draws, and it's the shine's just being taken off it completely by all that VAR bullshit. It's got to go. It's just horrendous. It's just spoiling so many games. But I think, like, it's making me view our performance in a bit more of a negative light than I should do, because it's kind of like we've made hard work of that. But really, if the second goal gets given when it should have been, we may go on to win that like 5 or 6-0. You know, at that point in the game, if we'd have got a second goal then, and then we get another goal early in the second half, and again that's like setting us up perfectly to then just run away with it, and that doesn't happen, and then straight away we're under pressure, and they could have equalised. You had the chance when the substitute headed over the bar, and like the game then becomes in the balance not really through any fault of our own. But like, I do think we've got to be better against a team like that, because they were fucking horrendous, and they were there for the taking, and it just felt like, okay, disallowed goals that have not helped, but I also felt like we were maybe cruising a little bit when it's like get to 3-4-0 up and then cruise. But overall, you know, Darwin's got a goal, we got the points, we're top of the league, so yeah, it's all good, isn't it? And we've got like a week until the next game now, so I also think tired legs may have slowed us down a little bit in that game. You know, we have played quite a lot of games. Endo's played like, I think 5 games in 12 days, whatever it is. He's played most of them. He's not played 90 minutes, but he's played like quite a lot of those games.
It showed towards the end with him.
Yeah, I thought he started to run out of gas, and then he goes and wins that tackle to make the second goal. It's like, because he'd had a couple of sloppy passes just before that, hadn't he? And I said that to my dad. I was like, I think fatigue's catching up with Endo a little bit here, because he'd been playing really well again, another good game, and then just started to get a little bit scrappy. But there he is, like throwing himself into that tackle to set up the second goal. So yeah, well done Endo, and now he's got like a well-earned rest until the Newcastle game.
Yep, good stuff. Brownie, as Dave said, in my mind, we scored 4 legitimate goals tonight, and played some decent stuff at times. I thought. How did you see tonight's game?
Yeah, I thought the general performance was good. If it was like a round of golf, you'd probably say Tita Green played really well, but the putting was shit. I'm probably going to tee Dave up a little bit. I'm gonna pass the microphone to you in a minute. But no, I was just getting really frustrated at how we just lacked that ruthlessness that you need. Like, they were awful. To echo what Dave said, they are not a Premier League team, honestly. I mean, when you look at the team sheet before the game, I haven't like heard of most of their team. I'm like, who are these? The bums. And then when you see them play, you're like, yeah, they are bums. We've got to be doing better in games like that. We have to be. Everything points to us being in a title race. If you just look at it on a piece of paper and you don't watch the games and everything, you know, everything there tells you we've got a chance of winning the league. But if you seriously want to be winning leagues, you've got to put that game to bed well earlier. There's no way we should have been as nervous as we were going into the last few minutes. I know we can talk about the VAR stuff, and that's fair enough. But you've got to just put those chances away. I was getting really frustrated. Like, when Diaz missed that 1v1, honestly, like, I can't remember the last time I reacted. I'm jumping up like, what are you doing? Just put the fucking ball in the back of the net. They just need to... I don't know, it's that from free, and like getting Jota back is massive, because we all know he can finish.
Yeah.
As soon as he came on the pitch, you're thinking, please let the next chance fall to him. And then the irony is that wasn't even really a chance, was it? You could probably point to the goalkeeper shouldn't get beat from that angle, but Jota does that a lot, though, doesn't he?
Diaz almost fucked it up as well when it was like another.
He should have took the shot on.
Like,
for me, I mean, it might look like a good assist the way he's chopped it a little bit, but no, like. If he's full of confidence and he's somebody you're expecting to score loads of goals, there's no way he passes in that position. Jota wouldn't have passed to him.
Jota almost got tackled. It wasn't a great pass. Like, it could easily have been a tackle.
Or he could have went down for the pen because he got clipped, didn't he? He just got to it, but he wanted to score the goal, so he's took it on. But now, like, I don't know. I think our league position belies a little bit of what I'm seeing with my eyes. I know Paul's spoken about it quite a lot recently. But I don't think we're very convincing. I think a lot of that's just due to the fact that we're going through that process that you have to.
Though.
No,
Villa's 3 points behind us. If they win tonight, they go level.
The 2-0
Oh, they're
up, by
winning
the way.
tonight. They're 2-0 up.
Oh, there you go. So you're saying that about us, and don't get me wrong, I'm not disagreeing, but like, what are you going to say that Villa are really convincing? But
no, it's City.
On the same point.
For me, City will go on a mad run. I know they're not convincing, but they don't. They do this a lot. City. They flatter to deceive a lot, and then they go on a mad one once you get Christmas out the way. They can easily get 10 wins in a row. Like I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, so have I, but they've never been this sloppy in the first half of the season.
They have. They've got more points at this stage than they had last year.
Have they really?
I'm sure I saw a comparison of the league tables like 2 days ago, and they have more points at this stage than they did last year.
Okay, I'll stand down on that one then.
But even then, I mean, they're used to getting at least 90 points. So you're not going to need that many, are you? We're on course to get 84, 85 points, and we probably won't get that many. I don't think, to be honest. So they're not going to have to like go on one of them. Do
you not think we'll be better in the second half of the season?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think we will.
It might be one of those where it's just the team that grinds out the title rather than, that is impressing incredibly with their football.
Could be. But I do think we'll get better. We always get better in the second half of the season. And we've got players who are out of form who, quite conceivably, they could start playing well, and that changes everything. And I'm specifically talking about the forwards. Saying that, like, they have still scored a lot of goals, despite like the criticism, which is, it's justified. But it's not like that. These are rich people problems that we're talking about. You look at like some other teams, and like we're like criticising this and criticising that, and we're doing it from like top of the table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nitpicking. We know that. We know that we're nitpicking, but I'm desperate for us to win the league. I've said this for many years now. I want to win the league. I want to celebrate it with my mates. So I'm probably going to be on edge about every single little thing.
And because it's there for us,
this is the year to do it.
Yeah. We're going to get edgy and we're going to overanalyze things because it is wide open. It's like it's a real chance for us to do it.
Yeah.
So I just want to clarify that point I made about City having more points. It's actually incorrect. You were right initially. It was just the time of year. Yeah, stand back up. It's just because there was less games played by this time last year because of the World Cup.
Yeah.
But when you look at the amount of games played, it's they have 5 more points than they did this time last year. Sorry, they have 5 more points last year than they do this year. So I apologise for doubting you.
Okay.
Sunny even shines on a dog's arse some days. Yeah. So should we sort of dive into the game itself then?
Hang on, that's not an apology when you follow it up with a snide little dig like that. I almost missed that then, you cheeky bastard.
Yeah. I'm not...
It's like the worst apology ever.
Not very well, leave me alone. It's hard. It's hard showing any humility around you. Like everybody else, I'll be the first to
Should we talk about Darwin's goal?
Yeah, right. It's like this is what we were coming to. I was prepared to come on this pod tonight, full of sort of like, you can't be an elite. No elite striker goes 13 games without a goal while playing in a top team. It just doesn't happen. And then 5 minutes in tonight, he scores. With a really really great finish, one of his better goals for us so far.
Yeah. Only thing on that is he's done that a few times and it's hit the post. It's really fine margins that we're talking about. So it's like if we can say, oh yeah, great finish, but then criticise when he's not scoring and he's hitting the woodwork. As I said, it's a statistical anomaly. It wasn't a normal 13-game stretch where he's not looked like scoring. Some of that's bad finishing, some of it's really bad luck. And I wasn't worried about that. I was just getting pissed off constantly having to answer questions about it. So now that's over. Hopefully he can go on a bit of a run, start scoring regularly. I didn't think he played great tonight either. He was all right, but really nice goal. Nice little link up with Gakpo. Thought Gakpo looked sharp in the first half, kind of faded a little bit in the second half, but yeah, we'd be probably talking about Gakpo in a different light if that goal had stood as well, which it should have done, because that was a lovely strike. Just really, really nice finish that. Like, and he did look sharp in the first half, but combination of like good goalkeeping, some slack finishing, and a scandalous disallowed goal meant it was only 1-0, which is like, how's it only 1-0 against these? They were so bad. The thing with them, there's shit teams who come up, like Sheffield United are shit, Luton are shit, although Luton are kind of, they're proving me wrong to some extent. The thing with Luton, they're shit, but they're feisty. No one's rolling them over. They're in every game. Because the way they play, they battle and they're hard to break down and they're good from set pieces. All the things that Burnley used to be. But now Burnley are like just this fancy down, let's play it out from the back. And it worked for them in the Championship. They ran away with it. They were brilliant. But those players are not good enough to do that in the Premier League. And there was that one when Darwin probably should have scored. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing? What is that? What are you trying to do? To try to do that against a team like us who are known for like really, a high press, we're really good at winning the ball back, and you're trying to play like that. I'm like, what's that all about? That's just arrogance from company. And you can't play that kind of football with the players that they've got. They're definitely going to go down. And they're also going to have games where, unlike Sheffield, say that Sheffield United got beat like 8-0, didn't they? But I think under Chris Wilder now, their games, they're going to be fairly close games. They're competitive. Luton, every game Luton play is like really competitive. They might lose, but it's usually by like the odd goal. Those teams are going to scrap and fight and get points. I just think Burnley are going to they're still going to pick up points. They had a good win at the weekend. When they lose, I think they're going to lose heavily, quite a bit, just because of the way they're playing. And that's where the frustration was today. It's like, that was a real opportunity for us to just go and like fill our boots there, like a hat-trick for Darwin. Maybe Diaz coming off the bench and getting one, Mo getting his customary goal. That was all on the table for that game today, and it's not really turned out like that. The one I really feel sorry for is Harvey. He's been totally screwed out of like a really nice goal there. Like, that's really bothering me, because Harvey loves a goal, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Brenny, there were opportunities for us to go further ahead in that first half. Almost immediately after the goal, the keeper does make an excellent save from that sort of instinctive jab from Mo. And then the other two forwards have some chances as well. Gakpo blasted over. Nunez has the chance that Dave just mentioned, where he kind of dallied a little bit and then tried to back heel, and it didn't quite work out. But I was pretty confident that the goals were going to come, and it was going to be sort of a really good night for us in terms of finding our mojo again, and it didn't quite materialise for a number of reasons.
Yeah, that was the frustrating thing, was you felt like if we got the second goal, then the floodgates will open, because that's one thing that's happened to Burnley all year. If they concede two, their arse goes, and then it just gets completely out of control for them. But any game of football in the Premier League, if you're only winning by one goal, it just takes a set piece, just something daft. I mean, when you've got Paul Tierney reffing the game, then that in itself is a risk that you don't want to have when you're only winning by one goal. So it's just really frustrating not to get that second goal. I mean, when Harvey scored that one, I was like, that's it, game over, happy days. And I didn't for 1 second think there'd be anything. I mean, I didn't really notice Mo in that situation with it at all, to be honest, until I saw the replay. And then, I don't know, what one should we talk about first? We probably need to talk about the first disallowed goal, don't we? Because, I mean, both of them are scandalous. Like, that first one, because that happens even earlier. And as I say, that goes in and that game's completely over. And we do fill our boots. Yeah. We can probably make changes a little bit earlier, getting more people, in terms of the freshness and everything. And it's just ridiculous. Like, what the fuck are they playing at? Like, there's no contact whatsoever.
None.
There's one camera angle where it looks like there might be. But the whole point of the technology and all this, we've got loads of cameras from different angles. Well, look at it at another angle. I know that people would say you don't want to spend too long looking at it, but even that side, you're like, no, I'm not sure about that. So have a look at it from the other side. Like, there is no contact whatsoever.
He did look at it though, didn't he? The VAR did look at it from different angles. So there's no excuse for it, because he saw what we saw. And like, there's two things on that. Like, firstly, I don't really blame Tierney for seeing that as a free kick on first view, because it kind of, I seen like, oh, he's gone down and Darwin's there, maybe that's a foul. So I can understand the referee who's got one look at it thinking, yeah, that looks like a foul. So I'm okay with that, even though Tierney screwed us over so many times. Maybe he doesn't need to blow the whistle. Maybe he should just leave that to VAR. Don't blow, and then if it's a clear foul, then they can say, because once you've blown the whistle, they're going to lean towards whatever the referee's given. So slight issue with the fact he blew the whistle when he probably didn't need to, but I can understand why he maybe thought that was a foul. But when you see those replays, there's nothing in it. And the clearest part of all is the reaction of their player. He does not appeal for a free kick in any way. The ball goes in and he just puts both hands to his head, like, because they've conceded. He's not thinking for 1 second, I've been fouled. Because if he did, he'd have been appealing for it and screaming. If he'd have been fouled, he'd have been running to the referee and going, that's a foul. Like, he was like, oh, shit. And then the whistle goes. And they all look and they're like, what's that? And then like he points and he gives the free kick and just totally gets them out of jail. But Simon Hooper's got like slow motion replays from whatever angle he wants. He can see that there is no contact. It's not one of those where there's a bit of contact and the player goes down. There's nothing in it at all. It's just not a foul. He should be saying to Paul Tierney, no, it's not really a foul. Go and have a look. And then if Tierney goes and has a look and he still says no, it's a foul, well then we can just blame Tierney for it. It's completely on him. I think that's more like 75% on Hooper, 25% on Tierney, that first one.
Yeah, it's almost like he's gone like, the VAR's gone, well, there wasn't any contact. Should we disallow it anyway? Yeah. It's like, come on, man.
Well, this is the referee who's gone, well, there wasn't any contact, should have just sent Jota off anyway in the time. So, you know, he's got form for it, hasn't it, Simon Hooper?
Yeah. Definitely. And do you want to tackle the other one then, Brownie? Because the second half started quite quietly, but we were building some nice little bits of pressure. They couldn't really get out, and we were knocking it around a bit better. And the ball ends up in the net from Harvey. Really nice little 1-2 between him and Gravenberch. And I thought Harvey did like really well to just not. He was really intelligent. He kind of just let the defenders pass him and just hung out in that space. And it was a lovely finish. And in my mind, like, I know you guys have other issues with this decision, but like if that goalkeeper had go gadget arms and fucking binoculars, he wasn't getting anywhere near that.
Yeah, he's not getting it.
It's a fucking joke.
Yeah, and they seem to ignore that, don't they? They ignore the fact that all of his body weight is going one way, so there's no chance that he's got time, because it happens so quickly and it's so close to the goal. Yeah. The goalie hasn't got time to adjust his weight and then go back the other way. So if there was no player there was no chance he was ever saving it. But then the thing that makes it worse is the fact that Mo is only there because he gets pushed. And I've heard after the game them saying, yeah, it's a push, but it's not enough for the foul. How's that not a foul? Are you telling me if a cross comes in, you know, and someone's ready to head the ball in and then someone pushes him like that, you'd give a foul? Because it is a foul. You can't just push people like that. That is a foul.
It would be the softest penalty of all time, but you could give it because technically he pushes him. So you can't say it's not enough for a penalty. You can't be a job's worth, but it's enough. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. You can't be a job's worth and disallow the goal when you could just be a job's worth and give a penalty, because he does put two hands on him and he pushes him, and that's the only reason he's offside. And as you say, the goalkeeper's not going to get that. But once again, I'm having to defend Paul Tierney again here, simply because when he goes to the screen, they didn't show him the push. They just showed him a load of still photos from Mo being offside, and at the angle where he's blocking the goalkeeper, the angle from the side where he's offside. They showed him all that. Now, unless I've missed it, I was watching it and I'm screaming at the TV. I'm going, show him the push, and he never. And now they'll say, well, he doesn't need to show him the push because what we just said there about it's not enough for a penalty, so therefore the push is irrelevant. Well, it's not irrelevant because the only reason he's offside is because he got pushed into an offside position.
Their argument is in the rules, though it is. If they deem that not to be a foul, then it doesn't matter that he knocked him offside.
So deem it to be a foul then.
That's
deem it to be a foul and play the advantage because we scored. That's the simple answer to that. It's like, well, we're not giving a penalty, but it was a push. It's a foul, but he scored, so we didn't need to make a decision on that. It's as simple as that. Yeah. It's like, you know, Klopp said afterwards it was people who've never played the game, and that's how they're coming to that. It's not people who haven't played the game. It's not because of that. it's just because they're knobheads.
Well, it's definitely not, because that girl who played the game as a goalkeeper on the panel on Prime was suggesting that she agreed with the decision. Fucking knobhead.
And then she hit herself and Klopp glared at her and say, "You what?" And then she said, "No, tongue in cheek. And then was like, "No, I actually do think that," after he'd gone. But that's goalkeepers' union, isn't it? So
yeah. Dan, if Dan was on, he'd probably defend the goalie.
Oh, tough one for Dan.
Over having a go at a referee.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, fair enough.
Have a go at Mr. T and he'll defend the goalkeeper. Hobson's choice.
Yeah. And for me, it's just that they're, continuing on from what you guys are saying, it's their complete inability to apply any common sense to these rules whatsoever, which they can do in other sports, which kind of makes it work. Like, you know, in the NFL, you have the uncatchable ball and it's not pass interference because he was never going to catch it anyway. Yeah. It's the exact same principle here with that goalkeeper, because he's not getting near it, but they can't do that because they're, you know, they've not been empowered to think on their feet, and they're such fucking little bureaucrats that they...
Little traffic warden bastards.
The game doesn't help itself, though. Like, it really fucking does me head in. I don't know if you saw Vincent Kompany afterwards, and they asked him about it. And how easy is it for him to just turn around and go, yeah, it's a terrible decision that, and, you know, we've got lucky. He turns around and he goes, yeah, Buffard's screwed us over a few times this season as well. So, you know, that really does my head in. That's partly why we are where we are. That people can't just, like, accept it. They've lost the game 2-0. What difference does it make if he just comes out and is honest and goes, I'd be fuming if that was given against my team? It doesn't make any difference, but he can't say it.
Bull-bedded.
It fucking does me head in.
I despise Vincent Kompany. I absolutely fucking despise him. I can't even look at him in his fucking suit jacket and his baseball cap. He winds me right up.
Come on, go to town. Why?
It's just everything
just
about him.
Just let it rip.
It's just his stupid fucking head. He looks like the that episode of The Simpsons, and Ken Griffey Jr. gets injected with something on his head, just all swells up. But like, he really pissed me off when it was after the Tottenham game, and he come out and he was like, well, you know, they make mistakes, these things happen, and literally the week after, they were on the wrong end of something, and he was kicking off and whining. I'm like, you fucking twat. Last week was the chance for everyone to stand together and say, this isn't good enough, something needs to be done, and they didn't. They were all like looking after themselves, going, oh yeah, well, you know, it wasn't us that got screwed, so I'll just defend the refs. Fuck Vincent Kompany, the fucking Man City twat. Scores fucking one goal in his career.
Yeah, that fucking goal against Leicester. Not bad.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
Did you see his fucking coat today as well?
I saw his coat. What do you like about his coat?
All the metal on it. Like when he's doing that stupid fucking interview, someone should have just had a big fucking magnet and just fucking dragged him away, the twat.
I thought you couldn't stand to look at him and you know what all his fucking clothes are like.
That's what the camera kept fucking going on, and what do you want me to do?
Look away.
I did look away, but you still see him. You've got to know that he's there, unless they give me some warning. Like, he's going to come on the screen now, look away. But they're not doing that, are they?
Like they do for really, like, harrowing scenes on the news.
Yeah, when, like... Or sometimes, you know, like, when you're watching something and they're like... I'm not even going to say this because I know where Brownie's going to go for say this. Where, like, they pixelate something out. Brownie's going straight down the Japanese porn route if I mention this.
Get my laptop out here.
But no, you know, like what they used to say about, like, Luke Chadwick's face should be, like, pixelated out, like, when the camera goes on him. But he's grown into his face now, by the way, Luke Chadwick. I've seen, like, a picture of him not that long ago, and he looks fine now. You know, considering how he was, like, when he was young, he was fucking horrendous, wasn't he? But like, he's grown into his face. He just looks like a normal fella.
Bit, hasn't he?
Yeah. Just looks like a normal fella now. Good luck to him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, he was a shocker, though, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah, he's looking good. Good on you, Luke. Happy for him.
There's hope for you yet, Brownie.
Oh, man.
Sorry, I'm still on the porn here. What did you say?
Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
The goal is chalked. Yeah, moving swiftly on. The goal is chalked off, and from that point on, it gives them a lift. It gives the players a lift. It gives the crowd a lift, and all of a sudden they have some incentive. It's almost like they scored, pretty much.
Yeah.
Everybody's up, and for the next 15 minutes, it gets like really, really uncomfortable after that brownie, and you're thinking there's probably going to be some kind of sting in the tail here, and we're going to be looking back at this game and thinking, how the fuck did we not win this?
Yeah, there could have been as well. They had a couple of chances, didn't they? I mean, they didn't, when you look at the stats at the end, they actually didn't even have a shot on target, did they? So you would think they've not created anything, but they had that one where the lad didn't know a lot about it. I think he needed it, and then it just hit Darwin, didn't it? That was really close to the goal as well. It was about 5 yards out, so it was lucky that just took that deflection. That's the thing, innit? That's all it takes. If you're just winning a game by one goal, it just takes
great
one
defending
ball
by Darwin. I think
great block.
Yeah.
It just takes one moment like that, and that's the frustrating thing for me. That's where we need to just develop as a team, where you don't even put yourself in that position. Yeah. Don't allow yourself to be there. That's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely. And were you worried, Dave?
Yeah, I was. I was very worried, just purely because we'd had the 2 goals disallowed, which was then making me think this is going to be one of those where like we're all kicking off over it and everyone's telling us, oh, just get over it. It's like shit happens and all that. But it would have just been like such a massive miscarriage of justice. And you could see it coming. Thought, yeah, we're going to end up like conceding here like with a couple of minutes to go and end up like dropping 2 points. And we'll just be thinking about it for the rest of the season. But, thankfully like Jota comes on and does what Jota does. But yeah, it was hairy for like 10-15 minutes. They played some good football. Tell you what, that lad on the left wing was good. He barely had a touch for like about an hour. But when they finally managed to get the ball to him, he looked really lively. Yeah. That one when he just like ran past 3 of our players. And then
no, that done my head in that.
It was shit defending, but he's still got to get out of it, hasn't he? He did really well. Just a shot at the end wasn't good. But the lad who he's come in for, he was really good, that Usher, and he's out for the season. And then they've just brought this kid in who's like looks like a carbon copy of him. But that's basically all they've got going for them, is like whatever kid's playing on the left wing, because there's not really anything else, is there? But yeah, they did have that little spell. I think it was that kid who put the cross in for the header that went over as well, wasn't he? He got down the left, he skinned Trent, and then he went past Dom and put that ball to the back post. So yeah, he was dangerous. Him might be worth keeping an eye on him. Looks a decent player.
Pick the bones.
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily think that the substitutes helped us either. I mean, 2 of our most effective performers on the night, I thought, were Elliott and Gakpo. Brownie, I'm not sure if you go along with that. Szoboszlai and Diaz came on, neither of whom are in any sort of form at the moment. Curtis came on for Gravenberch as well, but I think it was another one of those nights where the initial 3 subs didn't really sort of help us upset the balance of the team a little bit, and it was coincided with the period in the game where we did look a little bit ropey.
There's a bit of a theme with that as well, isn't there? Felt like the same in the last game where the subs killed us and didn't help us. Now, he's been doing it all year, hasn't he? It's almost like pre-planned. Once it gets to a certain moment in the game, he'll do a triple substitution. And, you can't argue with it based on the results because it's working and players do look fresh. But sometimes someone's just having a good game. Like, can you not change it up a little bit? Like Harvey.
Yeah.
How unlucky is Harvey? Because I mean, he's been having a massive impact from the bench, and we've all been making the point, and rightly so, that when he starts, he seems to struggle a little bit. But I thought he played really well today. So why would you not look at that and go, do you know what? Think about the bigger picture, how good it's going to be for Harvey to get 90 minutes under his belt with a really good performance. So we'll go against what we've planned and just change it up a little bit. That would have been nice to have seen that, I thought.
Or even 80 minutes. Just don't take him off that early.
Yeah, and I thought Gakpo did do quite well, actually. It was interesting. He was more on the left, wasn't he, with Darwin down the middle. And he just lacks a bit of pace, doesn't he? Can you imagine how good he'd be if he had like Darwin's pace? Oh.
Not saying it.
Okay. I thought that pass he played through to Mo when Mo volleyed it against the bar was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. It was quality. But he did. I agree on the subs. I think the obvious change needed to be Curtis for Gravenberch. Gravenberch had done all right in the first half, but he'd sort of faded, and it was the right time to make that change. But I didn't think we needed to make a triple change, especially because it's a week until we've got another game. You're not protecting people for the game at the weekend or anything like that. So, I thought it didn't help. It definitely didn't help. I thought Curtis was okay. Dom was like, I don't know, he did some good things, but he's just not quite there, is he?
He's playing very safely, isn't he, Dom? You can tell he's a player who's not in form and he's trying to battle through it. because when players are informed, they take that riskier pass, don't they? He's doing lots of safe stuff. You can tell he's thinking, I just need to just try and get through this spell. And his performances are showing that as well.
He did a lovely ball out to the left. I think it was to Gomez. He just pinged one over the fullback's head. That was a nice ball. But the shooting chance he had, and he just sliced it wide. So, that was an opportunity there. Even then, he should have played it through to Darwin before he took the extra touch and had a shot. The through ball was on if he played it early, but once you don't play it, then he's running offside. So
right, and his decision making has not been good lately at all.
And
Bernie,
what did you think of Diaz, though, boys? What did you make? I thought he was okay today. I thought he looked a little bit more like himself, other than the missed chance.
Not for me, just more of the same. I thought I mean, it's funny game in the sense that one that I moaned about before, where he's hit it straight at the keeper. If he slots that one away, things look totally different, don't they? That's just how the game goes. But that he needs to be better in those moments, and he's only really going to get that confidence back by doing that. But I've said from the start, to be fair with Diaz, the concern I have is the amount of goals. Is he someone who's going to score you the same amount of goals that Sadio did? I know it's not a fair comparison because Sadio was a bit of a one-off, but at the end of the day, he's replaced the money, so naturally you're going to look at it in that way. He's got to produce the same kind of things that we got from him, and he's just not doing it.
I think he has the potential to get 15 to 20 goals a season.
So do I.
And earlier in the season, he was kind of contributing. He was chipping in with goals, wasn't he? So
and the start of last season, he was brilliant until he got injured. I think.
Yeah, but he does that. He has little spells, doesn't he? And then he'll go completely quiet. I mean, how long is it since he's scored? I don't know. Or how many goals has he got in, say, the last 10 games?
He scored
at
Luton, didn't he? Got the equaliser at Luton. I think I want to stick up for him a bit here, because I thought when he first came in, I thought he was great. Like the first few months he was here, he gave us a real boost. He looked dead sharp, exciting player. Didn't score as many goals as we maybe would have liked, but overall, good sign, and he's brought something to the team. Exciting, looking forward to seeing what he can do. He starts the next season, and he's our best player. I know everyone else was shit, really. The way we started the season was bad. But he wasn't. Like we said the other night, Chris, remember about he was one who still had the eye of the tiger when nobody else did.
Yeah.
He was doing really well. He scored some goals. Like, think back to the game when Darwin got sent off against Palace. Diaz basically just grabbed that team by the scruff of the neck and was like, we're not losing this game. And he got us back into it with that brilliant goal. But it wasn't just the goal. Everything he did in that game, he's really stepping up. His form's good. He's scoring goals, he's dangerous, and then he gets injured, and he's never been the same since the injury. But that does happen. Sometimes it takes a long time to get it back. But I don't want to rewrite history for what he was like before the injury, because he was on an upward curve, and he hadn't scored enough goals, but there was enough there to think it's coming. He's gradually starting to score more, and then this season he's not been great, but he did start the season and he scored a few goals. So he just needs to get his form back, and then everything else will take care of itself, hopefully. Whether he'll end up scoring as many as Sadio used to, who knows? Possibly not. But I do think he was on track until he got that bad injury, and then it's taken a lot out of him. Whether he
I don't think he looks like
a
noticeably different player, though, does he? Sometimes injuries.
He's not going past anyone, though.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with you?
Speed, just that extra explosiveness.
I don't think he looks slower, though, is my point. I agree, he's not taking people on. He keeps just he goes to do it, then he stops, and then he just lays the ball inside, and
because
then
maybe he knows
to do something.
He's just not got that confidence in himself. Maybe
it could be a confidence thing, but not a physical thing.
I don't know. But there's a long history of it.
Now, that's all he does, isn't it? It's like he gets the ball, and then the first time he just knocks it back inside.
Yeah.
Who knows what he's being told to do? But you'd think he was so effective for us when he was taking people on.
Yeah, that's his game.
I
don't think it's a deliberate thing. I just think he's not being able to do it, and maybe his confidence has taken a knock, so he maybe doesn't try it as much now. But there's so many examples of when players get even Virgil. He came back, and I thought he was fine when he first came back, but last season he wasn't, and they deal with stuff that like we don't even know about. Like, remember Virgil done that interview and he was talking about what he had to do to actually get out on the pitch. You know, or like the treatment he had to have just to be able to go out and play. So who knows? Maybe Diaz is having issues with the knee. You know, because he had to have 2 operations on it. The first one didn't clear it up. He has to have another operation. So maybe he's just still after effects from that, and he's just got to get himself like totally free of all of that and get his confidence back. And I don't know, might take a while. Who knows? It might not be until next season until he gets his form totally back. Hopefully not. You know, hopefully it's confidence and maybe like a goal or two suddenly gets a spring in his step again.
And all of that is completely fair, but it comes back to the point I made earlier. I'm like, we haven't got time for this, lad. You need to do it now.
I know, and that's why maybe patience is going to be in a little bit shorter supply than it should be because of that, and it's understandable that that's how we're going to think.
Hopefully now Jota's back, the burden won't be on Diaz as much to chip in. But I want to lay off him a little bit as well, because I'm not his biggest fan. Like I've been saying almost since the beginning that I don't think he's like for like as good as Sadio, and that's a hard act to follow, and it's not his fault. But that's the standard that, as Brownie said, he's replacing him. So that's the standard we expect from his replacement, is to carry on and do the same things. But that footage of him on the bench after he got taken off on Saturday was like really fucking saddening. Yeah. And it just makes you think that like we all criticise these players and praise them when necessary, but we criticise these players almost forgetting that they're like human beings with the same sort of emotions and disappointments and hopes that we all have. And so it's just nice to kind of like just take stock a little bit and think, be a bit more supportive, I guess, Brownie.
No, that's fair. Like, I agree with that. But then when he misses a chance again, I'm going to be fucking fuming with him.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about, we got onto Diaz, but we were talking about Gravenberch, and I wanted to talk to you about him specifically because you were gung-ho on us signing him. I just wanted to sort of touch base with you already on how you think he's done so far. Is he living up to your expectations? And do you think he has been so far and will be a good signing for us?
I think he's been okay so far. No more than that. I thought his cameo on the weekend was absolutely disgraceful. I couldn't believe it. Oh my God. I have no doubts that he's going to be a top player. No doubts whatsoever. You even saw, like, did you see that little turn where
when he got
did he get him? Did the lad get booked for that? Oh, I can't remember. But he just skinned him with one little touch.
Dragged him down. Brilliant.
Yeah, that was like a rugby tackle, wasn't it? That kind of thing. Like, although it looks like one little moment, that's not an easy thing to do. There's not a lot of players who are able to just take someone out like that with one turn. He's got that ability. He can run. I think you can tell he's a young lad who's still learning the game. Like, sometimes he's a bit gangly in here and he gets the ball stuck under his feet when you think he's clear to someone, and then it gets strapped under, and he's learning the game. I have no doubt whatsoever that when he learns this system that he's playing in and he gets a bit more experience under his belt, he's going to fly. But you have to go through this process with the young players, don't you? You can't expect them to just go in and the progress just all goes one way. They have like bumps. It's the same with Dom, I suppose. Similar age, aren't they, actually? Like, I think Gravenberch's 21, Dom's 22. That's the mad thing with these players. You can't expect them to just come in and just be really consistent. They've replaced players, really, who were towards your late 20s, early 30s, like really experienced players who were more consistent. These lads aren't going to be as consistent, but you'd argue that the ceiling's a lot higher. But we just have to wait for that to develop, I think, with them. But no, I have no doubts about him, mate. I think he's going to be boss.
Good. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, I agree. I think potential's there. Just needs a little bit of polishing, but he's shown enough that you can see what he's got to offer. But yeah, he's just, it's inconsistent, and I suppose like you've got to expect that. I actually think I'd be tempted to just give him a little go on the left wing. That, like, maybe not now that Jota's back, it's not as pressing a need, but like when he came on against Arsenal, I thought that's where he was going to play initially. I thought, put him there and let him just run with it, because he's good at that, just getting it and running at people and cutting inside. He can go both ways. I wouldn't have him there as a long-term solution, but I think he might be it might be a decent option to just get him doing what he's good at. But especially because we have got like other midfield players, so it's not like he started today. I honestly don't know how he's starting ahead of Curtis. I don't know like what the thinking was, because Curtis gets brought off against Arsenal, presumably because they don't want him playing 90 minutes. But like, and I just thought, well, that's because he's going to play the next game. So it's a bit weird to see Curtis back on the bench for this one today. I don't really know what the thought process is there, but yeah, he's definitely a big talent. I think he'll just get better and better, and he'll probably outscore all of the other midfield players. You know, when he's playing regularly, I think he'll get more goals than maybe not Dom. Like Dom looks like he should score more than he has done so far, but I do think he'll bring more goals to the team than we've had previously with our other midfield players. You know, they were very much let the forwards and Trent and Robbo do their thing, and they'll fill gaps and do all the dirty work. I think like this new version of the midfield has got a lot more to it than that. But yeah, he's just, we've got to see it from him week in, week out. And
I think Kloppo loves him, you know. Like when you see some of the interviews, and I saw one the other day with, was it Ben Foster? I think did an interview with Klopp, and they were talking about a podcast that Milner did, and they said who's the player in the squad who's got the potential to just go mad and become world class, and he had said Darwin. Obviously he wasn't around when Gravenberch and Dom come, and straight away Klopp was like, yeah, but Millie didn't see Dom and Ryan. Like, you can tell he loves both of them, and I think there's definitely going to be more examples where Gravenberch won't be in great form and he'll still get picked. And it goes back to what I said before. I think Kloppo and the coaching staff know that they've got to get through that. They've got to get minutes in him. He's got to get that experience, and they have to almost ignore how he's playing because they know how high his ceiling is. But you have to go through that tough period. So there might be other midfielders who are in better form, but they don't think their ceiling's as high. So they're going to pick Gravenberch so that he can push through it, and then they get the kind of rewards at the end of it.
I think it's because of what he does as well. Like if we're playing like a certain team, and like their focus is right, we've got to break the lines. We need someone who's going to get past their midfield and open it up. We saw it today with the one when Sander Berg just pulls him back, because just that one little, and it's not a one-off. He does it all the time. When he receives the ball, he's always already on the turn, and he doesn't need to take a touch and then go. He's already, like, his body's in a position where the ball comes to him, and with one touch, he's away. He doesn't need the two touches because he's got like such good control of his body like that. And I think that's probably what they want him to do, is because he can take people out with just that little turn, and then he's running at the defence then, which opens it up. And it's not something that the other midfielders do particularly well. So he is a bit unique in that regard. But I don't know. I mean, who would you? I'd have. Dom's not being in great form, but I still think like I'm picking Dom ahead of him. I'm picking Curtis ahead of him. I'm picking Harvey ahead of him at the moment, if it's me. But that's not a knock on him. That's just that, like, I think the others are all probably just should be ahead of him at the moment. But you do still want to get him on the pitch because he can do things. Just like the athleticism and ability to just turn and get running at people. No one wants to play against that. It's awkward to play against players who do stuff like that. But he just needs to be a little bit more polished in what he does. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Gakpo's a bit like that as well. Obviously, he's more experienced in that. But things that Gakpo does, he's good at, like, when he can get turned and run at people. But I do feel like he looks a little bit, I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for. Cumbersome's not the right word. But he doesn't always look like he's got it fully under control. But like you see
like
the potential.
As well.
You're like, that's almost, he could be really good if he just tidies that up a little bit.
But always going to come down to pace for me with Gakpo, to be honest. I think he's a nice, tidy footballer. I think he's clever. I think he can finish really well. I just think he
I'm not saying
that bit.
Not going to say it.
I'm doing my best here, aren't I? I'll keep trying.
You can subscribe to the Liverpool Way podcast on all the major platforms, whether it's Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon or Podbean. Just search for the Liverpool Way, leave us a review and hit subscribe to automatically receive all new episodes. You can also head to liverpoolway.co.uk and grab a TLW season ticket for just £3 a month. There's tons of exclusive content, including match reports from every Liverpool game, weekly Premier League roundups, the TLW diary and access to the members-only forum. Lastly, you can follow us on social media at The Liverpool Way on Twitter and at The Liverpool Way TLW on Instagram and Facebook. He's had a good game tonight anyway, so We shouldn't use his nickname unless it's deserved. He would have been on the score sheet tonight. He can hit them though as well, can't he, Gakpo? Like I want to see more of his like. I don't know. He's got some tremendous power in his shot, and the one that was saved. Yeah, the one that was saved before it rebounded back to him that he put away was fucking absolute hell of a strike as well. So, want to see more of that from him. So there was another little scare before the end. We mentioned that Endo kind of was tiring a little bit, and he gave it away to Larson. Larson took it early, thankfully shot wide, because I think all of our hearts were in our mouth a little bit then. And then Diaz has a chance where he goes through on goal. Brownie, you talked about that. A great pass from Trent, but a lame finish, decent save. That goalkeeper had an excellent game tonight, I thought, but we probably could have been more clinical with some of those chances, and that was definitely one of them. But last minute, Jota, he'd only been on the pitch 6 minutes. I don't really recall him touching the ball much, but it was a nice fast break, similar to Saturday night really, when we had the 5-on-1 or the 4-on-2 or whatever it was. And it makes its way through to Jota, squeezes it in from a tight angle, and finally we can put the game to bed there. And it feels like, it feels like the 3 points are in the bag, Brownie. Finally.
Yeah. I like the way that we used that. Like, it's a 5v3, wasn't it? That one at the end. Like, so often you'll see when you've got such an advantage running through, that teams will always try and just go right through the middle. When you've got a 5v3, the best thing to do is use the width, because it opens up more gaps. I said it earlier though, I would have preferred to have seen Diaz have a go. Like, I think if he's fully, confident, when he gets that pass, he's just gonna on his right foot just smash it. But he took the easy option by giving it out to Jota. But yeah, great finish from a tight angle. I think the goalie will be a little bit disappointed, because you shouldn't get beat really there, should you? He shouldn't have. I think his body position was wrong really. When a player's that far out wide, you don't have your legs like open like that, because you're just making the target so much bigger. He should really have them closed so that he can then save it with his feet if it comes that way. So it's an error from him. I agree with you, he had a good game overall, didn't he? But it was about time that he kind of didn't make a save. No, that's just Jota for you. He's a funny one, isn't he? He gets some really weird goals, doesn't he? Diogo, like sometimes he'll miss a really easy one, and then that kind of one you think he's got no right to score, and then he'll just smash it in the corner. Just in general, it's a boost to have him back though. It really is a boost. When he came on the pitch, I was, as I said earlier on, I was just like, right, next chance I want it to fall to him, because you back him over anyone else, wouldn't you?
Definitely.
To take the
not
chance.
Even close. It's not even close.
That's going to be a big thing going forward for us. Like,
what was with the celebration? The big Florida Gators chop? What's going on there?
I think he's done that before, hasn't he? Yeah, he's done that quite a few times. Yeah,
I reckon he's just doing different stuff, just so FIFA have to create a new goal celebration for him.
Yeah.
I genuinely think he's like, what can I'll do something so I'll get a new celebration on FIFA.
All right. Well, maybe we can look into that. All right, fair enough. 3 points sealed, and so I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. We're top of the league on goal difference. Should Aston Villa complete their victory over Manchester United? But
how many more does Villa need to go above?
5.
Another 5.
So it's
I'm
not
ruling
clear
it
cut,
out.
really. So if Villa win 7-0, we'll be level on goal difference with them. Right now we have a goal difference of 5. So yeah, that's good. I'm just looking at the table now. Goals conceded
Can't
16 after 19 games.
Aston Villa. What the fuck's going on?
United won't lose 7-0. When do United ever lose 7-0?
And bless them, they're all excited about their investment from their new sugar daddy, Sir. They do love a Sir, United fans, don't they?
Yeah.
Are they going to sack him, do you reckon? Do you reckon he'll get sacked? Ten Jag?
Not yet.
Oh, if they carry on. I think he'll get to the end of the season.
What's the point? What's the point, though? Who are they going to... They're not going to get anyone good. Not a mid-season. No, I think they should just let it play out, and then he'll do something.
I hope they do. I mean, it's fucking entertaining,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We need one of those things where they get the odd win from time to time.
Yeah.
So it just keeps
us today would have been nice. Let them win today.
Yeah.
We were saying before, weren't we, how many times over the years have Aston Villa gone to Old Trafford and we've been like, come on, don't do Aston Villa things.
Yeah.
And then fucking, it's just mad.
Never rely on Aston Villa.
That one in 2008 where they were 2-0 up and they lost 3-2. That's a familiar story as well, isn't it? When that Makeda prick, who was never heard from again, screwed us over big time. Never mind. Not going to let those losers rain on our parade anyway. They're currently 8th.
So we should still be top regardless of what Villa do.
We should still be top.
Yeah.
Who would Arsenal playing in this round again?
West Ham.
You all right, Dave?
Yeah, on Thursday night, yeah. Got West Ham.
Okay. Nice. Are they at
2
home?
days for them to think about that then. Yeah, they are at home.
They're at home.
Okay, 3 points then, you'd think.
Yeah, and Everton play City tomorrow, so you'd think that City will close back within a couple of points of us. It hasn't been too damaging for City, unfortunately, that trip away, because we drew with Arsenal and we drew with Man United, and I think Arsenal lost to Villa, didn't they? Well, since they've been gone as well, so it's kind of a little bit of a...
That's the concern for me. I'm not really looking at anyone other than them. I've already kind of made the point. I think it's a little bit too early for us this season, which is frustrating. I'm expecting them to go on a bit of a run now. Are you going to call me a shithouse, Dave? Come on.
No, it's all been said before. I don't need to add to it. We already know you're shithouse.
Another clean sheet though tonight, lads. That's pretty good. We've only conceded 16 league goals this season.
I think we're boss defending. I'm really pleased with the
Don't
defence.
Verge was boss again, by the way. He's
Kwanzaa,
definitely good.
Kwanzaa is a first team player. He's not like a fringe player. You bring it. He's a proper, fully fledged. You can put him in and he will play like a first team player. So impressed with him.
That's really important as well with Kanate, because they clearly don't think he can play like 2 games in a week. So we need to have someone to be able to come in, especially with Joel being out.
Joe Gomez really good again today.
Yeah. Kwanzaa's so composed, he makes Verge look like the world's biggest stress head. It's like, he's so fucking laid back.
He makes Verge look like Lovren.
Man, that's high praise.
No, but you can see why like Klopp calls him like Virgil 2.0. Because there is that similarity just in the way he carries himself.
He's a player though, Kwanzaa. Like, did you see the one where the ball was like dropping from the really big height, and he just killed it straight away? I was watching him recently at Anfield in the warm up. Fucking hell! Considering he's a centre half, like he's doing all these tricks and stuff. You know, like he's really good with the ball at his feet.
Verge does all mad stuff in warm ups and that as well, doesn't he?
Next time you get a chance to watch him closely, he's class.
There's another incident tonight that could have gone awry with a little less composure, where the ball's coming over the top, and you can see he's thinking about it. Like, does he get up to head it, or does he let it bounce? And he lets it bounce, and then he just knocks it back more or less over his own head to Elliott, who's like waiting for it in midfield. And it's like, that's something that could be a pain in the ass if anybody else is tackling that. And it's just the level of maturity and game intelligence that he has, and technique as well. It's just adds up to a really good package, and just really, he's been such a bonus for us in the way that Bajcetic was last season. The lesser spotted Bajcetic. So there we go. Should we take some listener questions?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So a few people have asked. Fiona asked, and other people, I saw it from somewhere. How did we not beat Man United?
Yeah.
Going back to that. I mean, like,
we'll be
obviously
asking that all
rhetorical.
season, won't we?
Fucking, yeah, we will. Absolutely. But another one is Does Paul Tierney understand the concept of advantage? That's by someone who's almost called Tierney, Tiernan Barrett. Don't think he does he?
He gave that one. He gave the advantage, didn't he? And then Endo gave the ball away.
Yeah.
Remember, it was Joe Gomez, I think, got wiped out on the touchline, and he didn't give it. And then Endo just passes it straight to their player.
It was the right decision, to be fair, that one.
I thought it was, I'm like, how much as I want to have a go at him there, it's like...
Yeah, it's just a bad pass on it.
Yeah, it was terrible.
GW Grazy Walker asks, Brownie, I'll come to you on this. Hand on heart, is Nunez good enough? And I'm a massive fan of him.
Is he good? He's good enough to play for us. It depends. Is he good enough for what though? To be what? Like, 30 goals.
Doesn't matter.
Goal scorer.
Whatever it is, the answer is yes. He's good enough.
I don't know. Is he going to be as good as Dave thinks he's going to be? Probably not. He's going to contribute, yeah. I don't know, to be honest. I haven't got a fucking clue. He does my head in. I don't know. I flip-flop with him all the time, and I blame him for that, not me.
No, that's on you. That's not him. You being a fickle bastard. That's that down to Darwin.
Well, what do you think, Chris?
I don't ever think he's going to be as what we need him to be. I think he's going to be handy. He's going to contribute. He's going to score goals. There'll be times where he looks like a world beater, but I just don't think that top strikers in big clubs just don't go 12 games without scoring. It just doesn't happen.
I bet you do. I bet you there's loads of examples of it. I bet you if you look back...
Dave, when he was in the youth team, you went 13 games, didn't you?
Never.
Like, what about, like, you know, I mean, let's just go, like, Harry Kane doesn't go fucking 12 or 13 games without a goal, does he? Like, Fowler didn't, Owen didn't, Torres didn't, Suarez didn't.
But if you look back, they may well have.
I don't think so. You'd be hearing about, like, I mean, obviously, like, people like Crouchy did, but, you know, I hold Nunez to a higher standard than Peter Crouch, as effective as he was. But I just don't think top strikers do that. And he's 24 now. He's old enough to...
I know, but it's a misnomer when you're talking about, like, 13 games, because probably, like, 5 of them he's come on as a sub for, like, the last 20 minutes.
It's not, though, is it? Like,
it should go on start. No, but when you're throwing out numbers like that, 13 games... It's not like he started all of those games and played the full match. So although technically he's gone 13 games without a goal, it's not really, or 12 I think it was, wasn't it? Wasn't today the 13th? Either way, it's not the same as how it used to be when, like, Ian Rush would play 90 minutes every single game. He would never be subbed. He would never be left on the bench. So if he's gone 12 games without a goal, that's a big thing. That's like 12 full games he's played. It's not like that. It's like, you have to look at it now, like, per minute on the pitch. You look at the stats per minute, not per game, because it's misleading when you're looking at it from games. Okay. And I think his numbers, like goals and assists per minute, are still pretty good.
But halfway through the season, and he's got 5 league goals.
Oh, we're just counting league goals now, we're ignoring everything else, is that?
Well, the league's the most important thing for me.
It's whatever. You're just doing it to whatever suits your argument.
That's not suiting any argument. That's a fact. It's literally a fact. We're halfway through the season. He's got 5 league goals. That's just a fact.
We're talking about this, and he scored tonight, so, you know, fair play to him. But by the same token, like, over the last couple of weeks, there's been a couple of, I'd say, like, average strikers who've got, like, Premier League hat-tricks, like Solanke, your boy Solanke, and Chris Wood got one today. And so I watched that Forest game today, and this might sound a little bit outlandish, but I think it would put a lot of the Darwin debate to bed if we could get, like, one game out of him that was up to the game that Chris Wood had for Nottingham Forest today.
But how many games has Chris Wood had that in his career, though?
I don't know.
None. But like, the goals Chris Wood scored today were fucking brilliant. They were so well taken.
Really
I'm not knocking that at all, but I'll go back to what you said about me earlier on. Sun even shines on the dog's arse some days.
Yeah.
But I do agree that Darwin needs just a game like that just to put it to bed and stop people from, like, overanalyzing it.
You thought he was going to get a hat-trick
today,
didn't
I
you,
did
Dave?
Think he was going to get a hat-trick today. I was convinced he would.
When he got the first one. That was the first thing in my head. I thought, oh, for fuck's sake. I'd
said before the game that Darwin hat-trick ain't coming. Yeah. But, didn't work out that way.
And let's hope today is the start of him getting on a roll a little bit now, because...
we know we've got next.
We need him.
Who we play
next?
Yeah,
well, it's his team, isn't it?
Yeah.
Newcastle.
We should batter them as well, by the way. They look like
real chance.
They've completely ran out of gas then.
They will shit ours it massively next week. The time wasting is going to be off the fucking charts when we play them. Yeah. We thought last year was bad. It's going to be 10 times worse because they're struggling so badly now. They're just going to want to get through that game however they can. Fucking Joe Linton. Oh, remember him last year? 7 times he went down wanting the physio on. 7 times in one game.
That's got to be unprecedented.
Yeah. At least, like, Nick Pope's not going to be there to do it though. He's out injured,
well,
so beat the other two.
The key is just like it was tonight. Just don't make life difficult for us. Get the first goal and get it early, and life becomes pardon me. Life becomes a lot easier when you do that and not put yourself behind the 8 ball. Yep. It's looking increasingly like our top of the league status is going to survive for tonight because Manchester United have got one back. It's 2-1 now, so Villa now need 6.
Okay.
To overtake us.
Maybe they get another one back and it ends in a draw.
Yeah, there you go. It's weird to be wanting for that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
For two reasons. It's weird wanting United to do well, but it's also weird to be concerned about Aston Villa.
Yeah. So there's a question here from Paul Calland about our corners, and quite a lot of the questions are quite negative tonight, really, considering we've had a decent win and we're top of the league. So just context and everything. But corners, why are we so ineffective? We used to be a real threat a few years ago. This season and last, very little. We have height. In theory, we have excellent strikers of a dead ball. So what is the problem? You want to take that, Dave?
I don't think it is a problem. I just think it's one of those phases where you have a spell where like they're just not going in, and then we might score like 3 goals from corners in the next couple of games. Like, we've had chances, we just haven't put them away. Like against United, Canate put a free header over the bar. Second half, Gakpo, I think that was a free kick though, wasn't it? The Gakpo one. But yeah, we have had chances from corners. We've just, I don't know, just it's one of them things. I think we're still quite high up in the set piece goals. I think we're like in the top 5. I think Everton might be number 1. I seen a list last week. I think Everton the top. Sean Dyche, number 1 on set pieces. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that? But yeah, I don't think it's a problem as such. I just think it's maybe we're in a little bit of a down spell with them. A couple of Trent's deliveries weren't the best today, but we know that there's qualities there, so I'm not worried about that. But I do feel like it's a big thing, you know, in those tight games when you've not really got it and you're not playing well, when you can just nick it with a set piece, it's such a big advantage to have. So yeah, hopefully they will start to flow again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Virgil should be getting like 6 to 8 goals a season easy, shouldn't he?
Yeah. I don't think there's a problem either, to be honest. I agree with what you said there. It feels like the games I go to at Anfield, like we create a lot of chances from them. Like, it feels like Verge and Canate, they get like stuck under the ball a lot. Do you know, like they tend to head the ball over the bar a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like it's almost like they go a little bit too early or they jump a little bit too early. But I don't think it's a massive problem overall. I haven't got the stats to hand, but I still think we have scored some from set pieces, and they're like, I see them as like bonus goals, to be honest with you. Like the set piece ones, I'm more concerned about creating chances, scoring goals from open play than set pieces. They tend to pad you out a little bit, don't they? So don't think it's a massive problem.
Also, Virgil's getting wrestled on every single corner and nothing ever gets done about it. So if you're wondering why Virgil isn't getting like a free run at corners, it's because he's getting fouled all the time and it just never gets given.
Yeah, good stuff. And one more, this is for you, Dave. Ash asks, he says he found out that quiche is a French word. Can you give me the correct pronunciation, please?
I would call it quiche. Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint everyone, but no, I would say quiche.
I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, no, because it's all about like sounding like a knobhead. So I just, quiche doesn't make you sound like a knobhead. Now, if I was to pronounce it another way,
you don't have
like
to mispronounce things.
What would I have to pronounce that as? Like quick chi? But I'd sound like a tit, wouldn't I? So quiche is fine. Whereas the whole like croissant thing was because...
So you think you don't sound like a knobhead?
I'd sound like a worse knobhead if I said it like I was pretending to be French.
No.
Now, really, like some people call it like a croissant. I'm like, okay, I can live with that. That's probably good. That's probably better than the way I say it. Than like croissant, you know, croissant. Yeah, a croissant, that's fine. It's when you go, oh, croissant. No, you sound like a knobhead. Unless you're French, in which
I've
case
never
you're
heard
French
anyone
and you
do the
bit. If you're French and you say that, sounds good.
Maybe John.
But if you're not French and you say that, it sounds pretentious. It makes you sound like a wanker. So no, that's the whole reason for that. It's not like every French word I pronounce it like the way it's spelt. It's not that.
So you just pick and choose, basically.
Yeah. It's on a case by case basis.
There's no rationalising. It's just
okay.
Davis.
Okay, I'll rationalise it for you. So, what's the capital of France?
Paris.
Not Paris. Not Paris, Chris. It's Paris.
Yeah, but it's like it's a name, isn't it? So it's like it's commonly known as Paris around the world.
Don't care.
Like
same logic applies here. Why are you not calling
like
it
Moscow
Paris?
isn't pronounced Moscow in like Russian, is it? They'll have like a fucking Russian word for whatever it is or something.
But why are you not calling it Paris? That's how the French pronounce it.
Because it's Paris. It's
And
the commonly accepted
and it's
fucking
croissant.
name for it.
No, you're
No,
like
it's
the
not,
only
because
person
nobody
who calls
fucking
it a
calls it
croissant.
that.
Okay, and like you
Nobody
say,
calls it that.
I've accepted that croissant is actually better than what I would
That
say.
is
So I
not.
will probably use croissant from now on. I
think
feel
that
like
might
that's
be
better.
worse, though.
No.
It might be worse if you're going to do it a bit.
Or
You might as well
croissant.
just do it.
Like Americans call it like a croissant, don't they?
Yeah, croissant.
Yeah. But you
Yeah,
can't
there's
say
this
it in an
place called
American
Croissant
accent or
Time.
you
It's
sound like a
fucking
tit
awesome.
again. So you've just got to say it in
Yeah.
whatever your own
Welcome to my
accent
world.
is.
You're not saying it in your accent, though. You're just saying it. You're just doing it to be a fucking bellend.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying the word. If I was to say it like a Frenchman, but with my accent, I'd sound like a tit, wouldn't I?
No, you wouldn't.
No, I would.
No, you wouldn't. You're pissing me off now. Anyway,
I'm
not very
happy
well.
with
It's
my
getting
stance
under
on
my
this.
skin. All right.
So,
So
if
thanks
you were
for
in,
that, Ash.
if you were in Paris, then would you ask for a croissant if you were on holiday? Is that what you'd do?
I'd probably just point. I'd go like one of them. I wouldn't say anything because I'd sound like
Let's
an
not
absolute
get onto
twat in
the-
France.
So okay, I don't even want to like open the can of worms with the pan of chocolate. Fuck it out.
Pano chocolate.
Pano chocolate.
All right,
Yeah.
moving on. Should we have a look at the Newcastle game on New Year's Day then? A few days to rest and
Please.
recover now. It's Monday, right? New Year's Day. It's Monday, so Wednesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Five full days off, which is great. And when Newcastle come to Anfield, Brownie, sort of really struggling. I think they've lost 4 out of their last 5 games. Ridden with injuries, form is terrible, and they look like they're a bit of a sinking ship at the moment. So what we identified in the calendar like a few months ago when we were looking at this Christmas period of like, you know, Man United, well, it was 4 games really, wasn't it? Man City, Arsenal, Man United, and Newcastle. This one isn't really looking as not intimidating, that's the wrong word, but fraught as it was 2 or 3 months ago.
That's a good point actually, because it feels like obviously we've dropped 2 points against United. I mean, massively dropped points. Arsenal, draw at home. Still, for me, that's drop points. Any game at Anfield, I want us to be winning. On paper, you'd think Newcastle will be difficult, but I don't think it will be based on what I've seen out of them recently. They look like they just cannot cope with playing this amount of games. You see it like quite often, don't you? These teams who qualify for Europe, they think it's all great until they actually have to then go and deal with playing the games every 3 days. They just can't cope with it. They look like they look finished. They look like they need the season to end now. So I would expect us to just run all over them, and I think what Dave said earlier is true. They're just going to try and shit out the way through the game, aren't they? I'd expect 3 points, and then when you look back at those run of fixtures that you just mentioned, it starts looking a bit more healthy, doesn't it? So yeah, I think we'll be fine. I don't see anything out of them to worry. Especially with Eddie Howe, his record at Anfield whenever he comes. Like in the past, when we weren't having a very good spell, I always wanted us to play Bournemouth. You know, when he was there, because they would tend to come. I know it'll be different. They're going to be probably putting 10 men behind the ball and sitting in and just trying to frustrate, but I don't even think they can do that. I don't even think they've got the legs to do that, so I expect a comfortable win, to be honest.
Yeah, Dave, I'm sure you feel the same.
I think there's 2 ways it can go. It's either going to be a real scrappy, horrible affair where they just totally spoil the game and they're hanging on and we might make hard work of it, or we're going to annihilate them. I think like an early goal.
It's all about getting the second goal. I think we'll get the first goal.
First goal
Get
gets us on our way. You know, gets the crowd keeps the crowd going. So I'm sure the crowd will be well up for that night game and that. But the second goal's always key when you're playing teams who do that, because 1 goal doesn't change it. They're quite happy to just get to 80 minutes and then have a goal, like try to get something late on if it's still 1-0. So the second goal always destroys a team that wants to play like they're going to try to play. But the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause for thought is that most of their problems have been like the massive injury crisis that they've had, based on like he's playing the same players every week instead of rotating it and playing. Maybe you might have like players you don't necessarily want to play, but you have to because you don't want to put the same team out every week. He's picking like an unchanged lineup, like 5 games on the bounce or something. I'm like, nobody does that, especially when you're playing twice a week. So part of their problems are self-inflicted because he's not rotating enough. they've got injuries, they've got like tiredness, they're struggling with the 2 games a week, but they've got a week now between today's game and next week's game, so might give them a bit of time to, you know, get a little bit of rest. Maybe they get a couple of injured players back. They might be a bit better next week than they have been recently, because they have been shocking. It's quite funny, like, seeing what's happened to Kieran Trippier. You know, he had that little run-in with the fan away at Bournemouth, and ever since then, he's just been giving goals away every single game. He's an absolute car crash at the moment. And I do think he's a really good player, but you'd think, like, he's used to playing twice a week, because he was at Atletico Madrid playing in the Champions League. But he looks an absolute mess at the moment. So I don't know what's gone on there, like, but, you know, he's probably their best player, and he's struggling badly. Don't really think anyone else is playing particularly well for them. So Anthony Gordon's having like a good season, but, you know, fuck him, like, the horrible rat. So yeah, it's a game we should win, but I have got it in my mind, we need a strong referee because of the time wasting. You know, I can't remember who it was last year, but the referee in that game last year just let them do it. He did nothing to stop it. It was pathetic. So yeah, get my boy Chris Kavanagh in charge, that'll do.
Alright, fair enough.
I want to talk about
Jota.
Arsenal. I want to talk about the Arsenal game for a sec. Just because Brownie's saying there about he thinks that, you know, it's 2 points lost. I think it's interesting, like, the different reactions in players. Like, Arsenal's players are all, like, on social media going on about, like, yeah, you know, it's a good point away from home, and, like, you know, we move on and all this stuff. And Mo basically apologised for us not winning the game. Like, Mo's message about, we know this is not good enough to keep dropping these points. And, like, I feel like that's kind of significant, because it kind of tells me that our players are looking at that going, for fuck's sake, you know, we should be winning these games. And Arsenal are like, oh, we've gone to Anfield and we've got a point in that. So it does make me think that our players, their mentality is that this league's there to be won and we should be beating these teams. So I kind of took a little bit of heart from that, because Endo was saying, like, you know, we need to be winning these games, and I just thought it was interesting, like, the difference. I know they were away from home and they've got a bad record at Anfield and that, but still, you know, 2 teams who are chasing the title, and one is, like, really disappointed at not winning the game, and the other's like, yeah, we got a point there, that's great, isn't it? So I felt a bit more encouraged by, like, if this is our players' mindset, they're looking at that and going, oh, you know, we need to be beating them. So I thought that was good. Arsenal fans, by the way, the reaction, like, the way they've carried on since that game. You know, I always think, like, that we might have, like, the worst fan base on Twitter. You know, you see so much stuff, and it's probably just because we're subjected to that more than anything else, because that's, you know, we're Liverpool fans, we see more of that than we see from other teams. But
especially
every time
you go on that Twitter For You tab, because that's the fucking, you're bound to see a dozen things that piss you off there in the space of about 30 seconds. But go ahead. Yeah,
that's exactly it. You're subjected to that more. So I'm not really seeing what Arsenal fans are like week to week. But every time when I think, oh, you know what, we might have the worst fans on Twitter, then I'll see something from Arsenal fans. I go, no, they're still the worst. They're so bad. Some of the shit that they... And, you know, I want to make the distinction here before, like, I go out, because I'm not tarring all Arsenal fans with the same brush. You've basically got Arsenal fans and you've got gooners. And if you if you meet someone and they go, oh yeah, I'm an Arsenal fan, you can have, like, a normal conversation with them. You know, the chances are they'll be sound. I actually don't mind Arsenal fans when they'll go, oh, I'm a gooner. Like, oh no, he's a cunt. You just know. It's an instant cunt identifier. You just know. And that's the difference between the two of them. So, like, their social media, some of the stuff that I've been seeing from their fans, they're like the worst of the FIFA generation. You know, like, just with, like, the shit that they come out with. They were actually accusing us of overwatering the pitch to stop Arsenal's passing game. Like, we were scared of Arsenal, so we overwatered the pitch. And it wasn't just, like, one random knobhead who said it. It was a thing that, like, got picked up on, and loads of them were talking about it. I'm like, what? When did you last win at Anfield? You think we're scared of you? Seriously? And then there's all, like, the shit about Declan Rice on that, like, you know, the 5 versus 2 counter-attack we had. Now, Declan Rice had a really good game. I'm not knocking Declan Rice. I think he's a really good player. But they were, like, talking as though Declan Rice single-handedly stopped, like, a 5-against-1 attack, and it's like, what are you talking about? The crossbar saved you, not Declan Rice. Declan Rice didn't impact that at all, really. He was like, and nor should he. He's not in a position where he can do anything against 5 players. They're always going to pass it round him and someone's going to get a shot in. There's nothing you can do about it. But they're just like the most annoying fans on Twitter. It's like, they're just pure FIFA gobshites. And like I say, I'm not saying it's all Arsenal fans. Loads of Arsenal fans are sound. And I think generally, in terms of the big clubs, I think Arsenal are probably like the ones who you'd have kind of more respect for. They're like, I wouldn't say similar to us, but they're more similar to us than any of the other big teams.
Big club, aren't
yeah,
they?
We can relate to Arsenal fans a lot more than we can relate to Chelsea fans and even Tottenham fans who are basically like the Evertonians in North London. And then obviously there's the 2 man teams and that. So I don't really mind Arsenal fans, but Gooners can fuck off.
It's like the old Chris Rock sketch, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's 2 sides. There's Arsenal fans and there's Gooners.
Yeah.
Gooners have got to go. Every time Arsenal fans trying to have a good time, ignorant ass Gooners fucking it up. Gosh. So yeah, I know, I agree with you. They're weird, aren't they? They've been really, really, really weird since the weekend. But I think a lot of it is down to that Twitter for you tab. Like it's a deliberate mechanism to enrage you into engaging with it. So I kind of tend to ignore that. But like, I've been sick for the last few days, so haven't really been doing anything other than messing around on my phone, and it sucks you in. It's like, and then I find myself like reposting it with rebuttals and taking the piss out of it and that kind of stuff, and basically just giving it oxygen. So yeah, best off ignored. But I do think there's sort of like a shared kinship there between us, and then we've kind of fought the same battles against the same enemies and gone toe to toe in for league titles and had the same successes and disappointments down the years. And I think there's a mutual respect. Like, they don't, I think you just said this, I kind of was checking on the United game, which is now 2-2, but like they don't come to Anfield and sing about it. Like,
I think United have just scored again.
No way.
They do this from time to time, don't they?
They villed it up. Villa have villed it up.
Nice. All right. Well, that should just keep Eric in a job for a few more weeks.
So you know, you've seen the stuff that I'm talking about. Then, if you've been like looking at like Twitter this week, you've seen all this shit from Arsenal fans. Sorry, from Gooners, and it does just make you scratch your head, and you're like, what the fuck? What do these people? Are these real? Or are they? And then sometimes they'll come out with absolute shit, and then when they get pulled up on it, they'll do like the little fishing rod emoji or something like that. Like, nah, that's not what that was. That's just you being a bellend. But they've
always been like that though. When they had like Wenger there and they had a boss team, they had Thierry Henry, they had Vieira, they were the absolute worst, weren't they? Arrogant fucking knobheads.
They weren't the worst because United were the worst.
All that.
Because you know what I was thinking the other day? What happened to that "You've only come to see United" chant? You don't hear that anymore, do you? So remember, every game they'd be singing that. It's just the height of arrogance. They'd be singing it at Anfield. Like, fair enough if it's an away game in the cup against a lower league team. Like, those fans have only come because they're playing United. But they'd go to Arsenal away and they'd go to Anfield and they'd be singing "You've only come to see United." I haven't heard that chant in years. They must have just had to retire it now, like, because they're so shit.
And we're Man United, we do what we want.
Yeah, that's another one, yeah.
No,
they might be singing the old "You've only come to see United tonight," though, if they beat Villa. Might be taunting Villa with that.
There you go. Good on them. Okay, so back to Newcastle then, Brownie, for a hot second. Will you be starting Jota, do you think? And alongside who?
Probably not. I think that you've got to be careful with the hamstring injuries, haven't you? I don't think you can have 10 minutes and then necessarily go straight in.
It's a week, though.
I think maybe I know, but you have to be careful with them. I'd maybe give him half an hour, just because he's gonna be, like we said before, how important he's gonna be in the second half of the season. I don't want him like picking up any more injuries if we can help it. So I'd be wrapping him up a little bit in cotton wool. Just give him half an hour. And Darwin scored, Danny, so you know you'd like to think he'd be a little bit more confident. Plus, as we already said before, Newcastle, they're his boys, so I think he needs to play. I don't know about Diaz for me. No, shouldn't be starting. I don't know if we're going to get on to talking about the team in general, Chris, but
yeah, go on.
I don't think Diaz should start. But then if you're not starting Jota, I'd probably go with Gakpo on the left again.
Yeah, same.
Like he did well tonight, so I think give that another go. No problem with that. Always going to play, and we know that. Midfield's the interesting one. I'd expect a little bit of rotation. I think Dom will come back in. Curtis or Harvey, probably Curtis, I think will start. I think he'll stick with Endo. It looks like, for me now, Endo's definitely, he's nailed down that 6th place, hasn't he? Like, he definitely in the last 3 or 4 games looks like he's got used to the system. He's settled. He's still got some flaws. He's not going to be perfect, is he, based on what we paid for him and where, you know, the stage of his career and all the stuff that we spoke about before. But he looks like he's used to the system now, so I think he's going to be playing pretty much every game. You'd think Kanate would come back in. And then I think the rest of it picks itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
McAllister, where he might be back for that.
Do you think?
Possibly. Maybe he wouldn't
back
come back in the
training yet?
I don't know. I think he's close, but I don't think he'd be back in the starting lineup. But if he's on the bench, it means we don't have to play Endo for 90 minutes again, because he has played quite a lot recently. So
yeah, that would be good.
It'd be nice to have him to bring on like for the last 20 or something.
Yeah.
But
what about the others? Is that like, I don't even want to mention his name, Thiago, but
he's just
like,
not even mentioning.
Are they close? I don't know.
Did you see what he did? Like, he put something. He posted a picture, like a cryptic picture of him. Like,
people went wild.
Yeah, and everyone thought, "Oh, he's back," and I was like, "No, he's not." I'm like, "What are you posting that for? Why are you posting that picture? What's the purpose? Posting a picture with like no caption? It was just a picture of like, what was it? Was it his boots or the training ground, like the door to the training ground, something?" And everyone was like, "Oh, it must mean that he's back." And like, no, he's not back. Still not training with the rest of them. So do we even know what his injury is?
I haven't got a clue.
No.
Could be anything with him.
Past caring, to be honest. Just move past it.
I love him, and I think I've moved on from him now. To be honest, like a couple of months ago, I'd have probably still been thinking, no, he's going to have an impact. He's going to be important this season. I'm at the point now where I'm like, just fucking let him go. Like, we've got plenty of other midfielders. There's other ones in form. Endo's settled. Like, where was he going to play anyway? Was he going to play as one of the 8s? Was he going to play as the 6? I think that was a bit up in the air, wasn't it? Start of the season.
It'd have to be one of the 6.
I'm not asked
like
anymore.
Playing as a 6, or maybe if they play 2 6s. I still think if he was fit, he could contribute definitely, because he's fucking quality.
Yeah, he is.
But then he's been out for so long, it'll take him a while to get back up to speed anyway. By the time
and he'll be going in the summer, so it's almost like, what's the point?
No,
like, we haven't got time to be getting him sharp. Do you know what I mean? It goes back to the point earlier that we're in a rush here, lads. Come on, we can't be like pandering to your fitness levels for you to fuck off anyway in the summer.
Yeah,
like just move on from him.
It's a shame, because I loved watching him. He's a great player.
Yeah.
Do you think in hindsight that, because he came to us with a patchy injury record and a big fee, do you think that in hindsight it was the right signing it was a signing that we should have made? Are you happy that he played for us, or would, if you could have the time and money back, would you have maybe got somebody else?
It's easy to say,
because it was a big departure for what we did, really, wasn't it? Like, he was older age profile, not great injury record, not necessarily someone that you'd associate with having in a Liverpool midfield.
Style of play as well.
It was the start of that evolution of moving more to like the possession-based stuff, wasn't it, really? Like, I don't regret it, mate.
I've got no regrets. It's easy to say the way it's turned out, but at the time I thought it was good, and it's not worked out, but no regrets. And it was 20 million quid. It wasn't like we paid huge amounts of money. And I think it was like 5 million a year. That was the deal he negotiated, wasn't it? We pay off his fee in like 5 million installments or something.
Yeah.
So it was a good deal, like, financially. Only thing is, like, whatever wage he's been on, basically, like, he's been available for less than half the games, I think. So you can double like his salary for the time he's been fit. So that's not great, but
he made a big contribution as well to the season.
He really did.
Literally nearly won everything.
And I loved watching him.
Some of them big performances.
And you know what? One thing as well, he wasn't like some fancy Dan. He just wanted to get on the ball and pass it. He fucking got stuck in. He's like throwing tackles in. He'd run about.
Winning headers.
I've got absolutely no like nothing but love in my heart for Thiago. It's just unfortunate that like he was never available. But I'm glad I got to watch him play. I thought he was a brilliant player.
Yeah, well said. Anything else you guys want to add about the game tonight, or looking ahead to New Year's Day against Newcastle? Brownie, I'll come to you first.
No, I don't think so, mate. I think that's everything, yeah.
Yeah. Dave?
No, just seen another question on Twitter. Callum L says, is Darwin the greatest Uruguayan of all time? Like, that's obviously a little a little trying to put me on the spot because of me two boys, but no, it's Suarez. Darwin's the second greatest.
Diego Forlan for me.
Oh,
You know
don't
what?
mention him.
I did like Forlan, even though he played for United. I always liked him and thought he was a good player. But no, it's obviously Suarez, Darwin, and then Seb Quartez.
Have you booked your flight for January yet?
No, because you said I'm not welcome.
You're welcome. You can come. I'm just joshing with you.
You're going to have so much fun watching like Suarez and Messi.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I just...
You'll be
I'm
a
not
bigger
sure if I'm gonna be
fanboy than
covering it.
me.
I bet. No, I don't think I'm going to be. I don't think I'm going to be that. But he is going to. He's going to be a majorly good signing for them. I think they'll win the MLS next year because they've got him. Like Messi was great for like all of the optics and the the razzmatazz and what it does for the profile of the club and the league, as well as the fact that he's still amazing on the field. But I think Suarez will really like turn them into just like a winning machine because of his mentality, and he's not going to be one of those who's just going for a little retirement, is he? He's going to go there and he's going to have the same winning mentality that he's always had. So I think with him and Alba and Busquets and Messi,
Do you actually go and watch them at all, Chris?
I do have. I mean, I did before they signed Messi, and now I can't afford it because you know what America's like with capitalism, and the ticket to go and see a Messi game is about like $150, $160, which is about £120, and that's on the primary market before you get to the secondary market stuff. But I can go whenever I want to cover the games, which is generally how I go and watch Inter Miami. So I'll definitely be going to see him quite a bit and hopefully have some interactions with him as well. And so yeah, I'll hopefully be covering some Luis Suarez games for Inter Miami next year, and I'll keep you all posted on his progress. So yeah, but as for Liverpool, we are still top of the league tonight, with Arsenal playing on Thursday. It looks for all the money in the world that Manchester United are going to complete their comeback and beat Aston Villa 3-2. So that's a bonus for us, gives us a little bit of breathing room between us and Villa. 3 points now separating us and them if that result holds. The floodgates didn't open for the Reds tonight at Burnley. They perhaps should have, but as we said in the intro, some poor refereeing and some poor finishing aside, it would have looked a lot healthier than it did. Hopefully those goals do come against Newcastle on New Year's Day. A nice few days to prepare for that one now, and a nice opportunity to put them to the sword as they're in a bad moment. Thanks to Brownie and Dave for their contributions to the pod tonight. Thanks for you all for listening. Hope you all had a great Christmas. We're looking forward to going full steam ahead in the new year as the Reds hopefully continue this title challenge. There's a prospect of an exciting few months ahead. So enjoy Christmas week, and we'll see you again on New Year's Day. Until then, we'll catch you soon.
Well, the best word I can say, but will describe this was boom. Ooh, what was this? It was really good.